I'm Lucy and this is my mum Julie.
Hello, I'm Lucy's mum.
And welcome to the third and final episode of Assumptions. We went on the internet and we asked people what they assumed to be true about us but they didn't know was. And we're going to tell you whether you're right or whether you're wrong. This first assumption comes from Angela from My Take on Home and Garden. Thank you, Angela. She says, I'm assuming one of you is a bit of a perfectionist.
Would you like to take this first one?
Well, I mean, I don't know which one you're assuming is a perfectionist, but I would say I definitely am, especially when it comes to the YouTubing. I think in terms of my work in general, I am a perfectionist.
Yes.
But maybe not so much in my home life, in the sense of
housework.
I
would say no to that.
Yeah.
Yes. I think I'm a perfectionist too.
Oh, do you?
Come on.
Who of you is a perfectionist?
Well, what do you think that was then?
Well, no, you're
sloppy.
No. The opposite of perfectionism isn't sloppy.
No.
I think you're just to do a job and then move on kind of person. I don't know if you agonise over things.
Oh, I do agonise over things, yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, if I do something, I do it properly.
I always think of myself as the perfectionist of the two of us because I think that's one of the things people know me for. But I guess I maybe get it from you.
I don't think you get it from your dad.
No. In response to your assumption, Angela, I would say we are probably both perfectionists.
I don't think, though, in general, I am a perfectionist like Lucy is. She does take it to another level. So if you're thinking one of us, Angela,
let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know who you thought was the biggest perfectionist. Number 2, Angela's given us another one. I would assume you try and have it together and try to be organised.
yes.
I would say this is more you. Both of us for the channel, but
yes.
in general life I would say this is more you.
I do plan, I'm a planner. I like to make lists and then I like to tick them off once I've done each task.
That is satisfying to
It's
be fair.
very satisfying. Yeah, I'm always thinking of what we could do with the channel, what topics we could do, how we could do them. I always write little ideas down, do research.
I do like making a schedule.
Yeah, you're the one who does that.
I love making a schedule because my mind is very cluttered and disorganised a lot of the time. I find it very hard to focus on one thought like I'm doing right now. It's very difficult for me.
Yeah.
You know, so I do like to have everything written down and then I can see it and then I know where we're going.
Yeah.
Otherwise I get a bit panicky and lost.
Yeah, you're very good with that and you always say, have you checked the calendar? And sometimes I haven't. If you're going to do something like this and put out a lot of material, you have to be organised because you have other things going on in life like work and home life that you've got to fit in too, and it's very time consuming. If you weren't organised, you'd be all over the place.
I think you are motivated and driven and enjoy doing YouTube.
Oh, I think we might have just answered that.
I think so. Well, yes, very much so. I really think if you don't enjoy this, if you don't wake up feeling motivated, and if you don't really want to get stuck into your videos, it would be very hard to do YouTube. You have to really have that drive to get those videos out. Otherwise, well, number 1, why do it? And number 2, I think you'd find it very, very hard to get the content out there. In response to your great questions, yes. Very motivated, very driven, very organised perfectionists when it comes to YouTube. It's like she's known us for years, isn't it?
I know.
This one comes from Roman Price. Thank you, Roman. Roman says, I always assume the best in people, but I slowly realise they assume the worst.
Oh.
Because they have such a huge guard up and act out of fear instead of love. That's interesting, isn't it?
I think you obviously sound like a really nice person and genuine person, and that because your intentions are always good, you expect others to be the same, and maybe sometimes they're not. And obviously I think you must have a lot of confidence in yourself to actually open yourself up like that, which is wonderful. And I think, you know, sometimes people are fearful and that's why they put a guard up, and they're more insecure.
I think so. I think a lot of people have been hurt, haven't they? And that's kind of led them to have more of a guard up attitude, you know, because past experiences have maybe taught them that when they've gone into life with an open heart, you know, you can very often be disappointed.
Yes.
And I do sympathise with that, but I think when you do that, very often the person who loses out is you, because you end up missing out on so much of life
yes.
because you're so busy worrying about, you know, am I going to get my heart broken again, or am I going to get my feelings hurt again? So I think keep your nice attitude there.
Yes, I do. We are both quite optimistic and open-minded. I think we do. I think you more so than me, actually. I think you're very open.
I think I'm probably like you, Roman. I'll assume the best in people till I've got reason to think otherwise.
I think most people are good. I know you watch, the media, it portrays most people as being bad, but I think in general most people are good and have good intentions. And I think we need to remember that.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for that. That was interesting.
Very deep and thoughtful. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, this one comes from Gamer Girl Jessie. She says, I assume Lucy can play the guitar and Julie can play the piano. Well, I mean, no. That's just no. But I'm kind of glad that we look musical.
Oh no, I would have loved to have played a musical instrument when I was young. I did have a little keyboard that I played, but I never had proper lessons. And when I was a teenager, myself and my brother learnt acoustic guitar for a short time. And we were really into punk music. So we had lessons. We had this really cool hippie guy that we went to for lessons. So he said, well, what do you want to play, man? And we said, Psycho Killer by Talking Heads, please. And so one of the first tunes we learnt was Psycho Killer by
That's a good one,
Talking
isn't
Heads.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could still play it.
I had guitar lessons too.
You did?
But I as soon as I realised how much it hurt my fingers.
Indeed. But you had keyboard lessons for a long time.
I did, yeah.
Do you still play?
No. I never had any musical flair, unfortunately, and even with those lessons it didn't stick with me. Although I do like music and I do wish that I'd stuck with it in many ways.
I do too, yeah.
It didn't happen.
I always wanted to be in a band.
Yeah, I was in a band very briefly playing the keyboards, but then our guitarist left and the rest of us were unmotivated.
Well, that's a bit of a sad story.
I know!
I thought you would have been lead singer, Lucy.
No, Katie was lead singer.
Oh, of course she
My
was.
sister
Yeah,
Katie was the lead singer,
Yeah,
and I
that
was on
makes
keyboards.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, we did some Marilyn Manson covers and then called it a day.
I don't know if I'm laughing so much, sorry.
Alright, we learned more than Psycho Killer, so... This next one comes to us from KG79. Thank you, KG. He says, I assume each of you stick out your pinky finger when sipping on a good old cup of tea.
I do. I think I do, actually.
I would drop the cup.
Yeah.
Do you actually?
No. Oh, I'm so sorry to disappoint. But actually, if I went to a tea room, I would.
You make the effort, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would make the effort, because you've got to play that role. But, usually it's holding my mug in two hands.
That's what I do, yeah. I have my dressing gown and my slippers and I sit there like this.
Yeah, sipping your tea.
Yeah. This next one comes from Mark Moser. I assume that you throw great parties, says Mark.
Oh!
What do you think?
Back in the day, probably, but I don't know, do people have parties as much nowadays, or is it I've
Maybe
just
for a
grown older?
birthday.
Yeah.
I must say that I do not like throwing parties or organising events or anything of the nature. I find it terribly stressful, terribly difficult. I always worry that no one's going to come.
Yeah.
And I'll be really sad.
I agree.
So I never throw myself a birthday party or,
And I think when you throw your own party, I know from experience that you don't relax throughout it. You're always so worried about, are people enjoying themselves? Do they like the food? Is everyone getting on all right together? But I love going to other people's parties.
Yeah, when you can just show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do love a party.
If I know lots of people, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Oh, stroke out, thought it was a head and so bottom.
Our next assumption comes from Claudia Ramirez. Thank you, Claudia. She says, I assume that you are the life of the party and family reunion.
I think we are at family reunions.
Yeah, although there's plenty of people more eccentric than us at family reunions.
Oh, we have a very eccentric family.
Yeah. I don't think I'd be the centre of attention necessarily at a party with people I didn't know so well.
No, me either.
No, but I'd happily be there and be involved. Just
yes. Oh, yeah.
in the background. Our next assumption comes from Susan Wang. Thank you, Susan. I assume you are confident and outgoing. It's a complicated one, isn't it?
I know.
I don't feel like outgoing is necessarily a personality trait. I feel like it's something I feel like I am or I'm not in the moment.
Depends on the situation.
On the situation and, the people you're with and the environment.
I think if you act confident, you feel confident. I think we appear more confident than we are.
Probably true.
And I think you make a point of being more outgoing to appear more confident. I think confidence does come with age, but then it sort of deteriorates.
Oh, I used
again.
to be very shy, but as a teenager.
Yeah, I was shy as a youngster, as a teenager. I think in general, you know, when you're out and about and you're talking to people, I think we are quite confident, but I think we both worry about things and are more anxious than what you may realise.
Yeah, than a lot of people realise actually.
Yeah.
And in terms of social situations, I think, you know, it's very easy if you do feel a little bit nervous about it to avoid them. But, you know, I also think that when you do something that scares you, it can really give you a little boost.
It seems like we're a help channel. I mean, God, look at us. I mean, really, who would come to us for help?
But no, thank you.
Yeah, so perhaps we can go down that avenue.
Oh, yeah. BRIT Girls Self-Help Channel. So no, we're alright, thank you.
But to answer your assumption, I would say in general, yes, we are.
So there are all our ones from the internet, but I also have a couple here from my husband with things he assumed about us before he met us, knowing that we were British. He says he assumed with me that I was going to be really into soccer or football, and I'm not. In fact, I'm not into sport in general.
You're not. You and Katie have never been into sport.
No.
Whereas it's funny because me and your dad are into sport.
True.
I mean, I really love soccer, so
Yeah.
But you never really got into it, did you?
No, not at all.
No.
No. And he said of you, he assumed that you wouldn't be into things like boxing, whereas you're really into boxing.
Well, I do like watching boxing. Yeah, my husband and I watch that, and I think because I used to watch it as a youngster with my dad. I liked, you know, being with my dad and doing the things that guys do. I always felt that as a youngster. And one of the things that guys did was, you know, watch boxing.
So, I think that's the end of our assumptions. Thank you ever so much for watching and for everyone who took part in all 3 of our assumption videos. We appreciate you so much.
Yes, thank you. And they were very interesting. And, yeah, we appreciate you taking time to give them to us.
Yes, thank you. And if you've enjoyed our video today, please give it a like, leave us a comment, maybe subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we'll see you next time. Bye!